Sleep Token isn't just a band. It's something people believe in. This isn't your average fandom. It's not about merch drops, celebrity gossip, or TikTok trends. It's something deeper, something sacred. A masked figure known only as Vessel steps on stage, and suddenly, thousands of people fall silent. They're not there to sing along. They're there to feel. In 2025, as Sleep Token dominates charts and headlines, something strange is happening beneath the surface. People aren't just listening, they're devoting themselves. This isn't about hits or hype anymore. This is about what it means to belong. To find meaning in mystery. To turn pain into power, not through explanation, but through ritual. And once you understand that, you'll see why Sleep Token is more than music. It's a movement. For most bands, the goal is entertainment. With Sleep Token, it's something closer to salvation. Fans don't just stream a song or show up to a concert. They enter a ritual. That's the word the band uses, and it fits. From the moment the lights dim and Vessel appears in silence, everything feels intentional, sacred, as if what's about to happen is bigger than the people in the room. The music itself is unlike anything else. One track might cradle you in soft piano melodies and whispered pleas. The next might hit like a breakdown straight from a metalcore war zone. But every note, every shift, carries weight, emotion, purpose. And fans don't just listen, they feel. Over and over, you hear the same thing in interviews and comment sections. This music saved me. I've never connected with anything like this before. For many, Sleep Token isn't just a sound. It's a release, a form of emotional healing. A soundtrack for grief, trauma, love, longing, and all the things we're never taught how to deal with. In a world that feels increasingly disconnected, their music has become a place of refuge, a sanctuary. But what's most incredible? The devotion that's grown around this feeling, and how far fans are willing to go. Sleep Token fans aren't just passionate, they're committed. And in many cases, that commitment looks more like devotion. The band's trident symbol? It's not just merch. It's inked permanently on bodies all over the world. Some fans wear it like armor. Others say it's a reminder that they made it through their darkest days, but it goes beyond tattoos. There are fans who fly thousands of miles to attend multiple rituals on a single tour leg. Fans who sit in silence before shows, meditating like it's sacred ground. Fans who refer to Vessel not as a performer, but as a conduit, someone channeling something greater. And no one's doing this for clout. In today's music industry, artists are expected to be everywhere, posting behind-the-scenes content, going live, dropping stories and selfies every day just to stay relevant. Sleep Token does none of that. They don't do interviews. They don't post selfies. You'll never see Vessel on TikTok talking about his breakfast or pushing a new single with a dance challenge. In fact, you won't see anything personal from them at all. And that's not a flaw. It's the plan. By removing ego, identity, and the constant need for visibility, Sleep Token created something much more powerful. Mystery. And that mystery? It becomes a canvas. When a band disappears behind symbols and silence, fans lean in closer. They start asking questions. They start creating theories. They fill in the blanks with meaning, their own. It's reverse marketing, and it works. Instead of giving fans answers, Sleep Token gives them space to interpret, to connect, to assign their own emotions to the experience. And that absence, that refusal to explain everything, makes every lyric, every symbol, every live moment feel significant. In a world drowning in noise, Sleep Token's silence is the loudest thing in the room. But this silence also opens the door to something even more powerful: belief. Sleep Token doesn't just tell stories. They create worlds. And at the center of it all is a myth, an ancient deity known only as Sleep. According to the band's lore, Vessel is a mortal chosen to deliver music in the god's name. It sounds like fantasy, like something out of a graphic novel or ancient religion. But for fans, it's more than a concept. It's a lens through which they understand the music. And sometimes, themselves. Lyrics aren't just poetic, they're scripture to be dissected. Album rollouts are rituals to be decoded. Symbols are totems, each one loaded with personal and collective meaning. This isn't just content, it's canon. And because the band refuses to break the illusion, the myth grows stronger. No interviews to clarify meanings, no posts to demystify the symbols, just silence, and fans filling it with devotion. They interpret, they theorize, they believe. This mythology becomes a framework for meaning. For some, sleep is a metaphor for grief. For others, love, or addiction, or healing. It's not rigid, it's fluid, and that's why it works. Sleep Token isn't giving fans answers. They're giving them a shared myth to live inside. And in a time when many people feel disconnected, uncertain, and hungry for something deeper, that kind of shared belief becomes powerful. It becomes a movement. But not everyone sees the Sleep Token community as a sanctuary. In fact, some fans, and critics, say it's becoming something else entirely, a cult, and not in a good way. As the band's fame skyrocketed, so did the intensity of the fandom. New listeners have spoken up about feeling gatekept, mocked for not knowing every lyric, or shamed for liking the band's newer, more accessible material. Some longtime followers have started to believe the ritual has become rigid. What began as a space for emotional connection has, in some corners, turned into elitism and obsession. People argue over set lists, they argue over masks, they argue over who's a real fan, and when someone dares to criticize the band, the backlash is instant. There's also tension around the band's silence. Without any statements or interviews, fans fill the void with speculation, and sometimes those theories spiral. Fast. Entire threads dissect a single facial twitch from Vessel, or obsess over hidden meanings that may not even exist. So, what's really going on? For many, the community still feels sacred, a place to process emotion and find peace. But for others, it's starting to feel like the mystery is too much and the devotion too deep. Sleep Token has created something powerful, but when that much meaning gets wrapped up in one symbol, it's only a matter of time before it fractures. Love them or question them. One thing is clear. Sleep Token isn't just a band anymore. They're a force, a phenomenon, a mirror reflecting back everything we crave. Connection, mystery, purpose, and everything we struggle with too. Obsession, conflict, and the need to belong. They didn't get here through interviews, hype, or polished personas. They got here through absence. Through silence that made fans listen closer. Through rituals that made people feel something real, even if they couldn't explain it. For some, this movement has been life-changing. A sanctuary. A salvation. For others, it's starting to feel like too much. Too intense. Too controlling. Too caught up in its own myth. But that's what happens with movements. They evolve. They divide. They ignite something deeper than just music. Sleep Token didn't set out to build a community. They built a belief system. And whether you're a die-hard follower or a curious outsider, you're already part of the conversation. Sleep Token isn't just changing music. They're changing what it means to follow something. But what do you think? Is this still a community? Or has it become something more extreme? Hit like if this made you see the movement in a new light, and drop a comment with your take. Agree, disagree, love it, hate it. We want to hear your truth. And if you're into deep dives like this, hit subscribe. We don't worship hype here. We break it down.